Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 69. Nice. Swiss Army Sports. Today is June the 16th of the Big 26. I am your host, Will Spain, former long snapper for the Troy Trojans, Ospey Governors, and partially Houston Cougars, joined by my side, former offensive lineman for the Hendricks College Warriors, current man of electricity, Luke the Nuke Wallman. Also at the table, the man, the myth, the legend, the producer, Michael Spain, local frat boy at Mississippi State, and joining us virtually from Atlanta, Georgia, the man, the myth, the legend, former kicker for the Houston Christian Huskies and Troy Trojans, current nephew of Georgia Tech men's basketball coach Scott Cross. Chase Cross. It is episode 69, boys. Let's get right into the agenda. What are we talking about on this Tuesday? We got Cooler Bull, as we do always, to start the episode. The NBA Finals come to an end. We talk about the New York Knicks burning the city down. The Stanley Cup is hoisted in Vegas, but by the Carolina Hurricanes. College Baseball World Series talk. Me and Michael were boots on ground. It was an absolutely unbelievable experience. Loved every single minute we were there. We will talk about that. NASCAR picks at Pocono, results for both the O'Reilly and Cup Series. F1 Barcelona recap. Chase will take that one. World Cup match day 2 to 5 talk. I don't know what that means necessarily. UFC Freedom 250 results and best things that happened this weekend. Let's get right into Cool or Bull, and I feel like I have a take that is going to ignite some takes out of y'all. Let's get right after it. Ilya Topuria will never recover from this loss, and here's why. His aura and his marketability in the UFC has completely been shattered. You have a guy that had a champions dinner, a victory dinner the night before with a whole bunch of other famous fighters celebrating his win over Justin Gaethje that in fact never did come. The Broey got his face beat in. Justin Gaethje broke his orbital bone. He beat him to a pulp. He couldn't see out of his two eyes. And this is a guy that he literally said he did not respect him, his camp, or his fighting ability in the ring. Ilya Topuria is going to have a very hard time at 29 years old getting back to the top of the lightweight division if that's where he chooses to stay. Paddy Pimblett handled Justin Gaethje way better than Ilya Topuria did. Paddy actually was able to fight back in this fight. Ilya landed a couple of clean shots, as he always does, that wobbled Justin. But Justin was on the offense for most of this fight in the 4 rounds, and it really should have been called after the 3rd round when the doctor literally called it to stop. And somehow I think the UFC got a call that said, no, this fight isn't stopping until his bone is picking out of his face, which it ended up doing. Look, he got absolutely manhandled for 4 rounds, landed a couple of clean shots that nobbled Gaethje's knees. However, after you could see in the second round, or was it the first round, when he tried to get that sub, he just was gassed. I mean, Justin Gaethje took everything Ilya had out of him. I just don't think, at least, he will never return to the superstardom he was before this fight, after it, because of the way he handled himself pre-fight and the way he got his ass freaking kicked. Hell yeah, Justin Gaethje. We'll start with the virtual man, Chase, and then we'll go across the table. Cooler Bull.
Well, I was talking about this with one of my friends actually yesterday, if he ever comes back. And honestly, the amount of oral loss, just when you have a celebration dinner before a fight like that, and I know he did that with Oliveira 2-1, but I mean, in the UFC, confidence is such a big thing, and the embarrassment Ilya Topuria suffered on one of the biggest UFC cards in history, and the way he just got absolutely beaten in that 3rd round. I mean, I really don't see, especially to a guy like Gaethje, who I think if you match him up against maybe 4 or 5 of the other top UFC competitors, they all have a chance to beat him. I wouldn't say he's necessarily the most elite of the elite. So I think that this loss definitely affects Ilya, and I don't think we ever see him recover. Like, maybe he does win and take back the belts at some point, but we will never see the untouchable version of Ilya Topuria that we've seen. We're definitely going to see him lose a couple more times.
Like I'm saying, I'm not saying he's never going to win the championship again, but he will never be this, untouchable force that he was recognized before.
Yeah, no, it's over. There's no chance. He probably will lose. I mean, I can see him maybe winning the belts again, but then losing it again, kind of in the same fashion.
Yeah. And again, someone on this podcast saw it coming. We'll get into that though. Luke, Cooler Bull.
I mean, yeah, I do think he'll eventually get to the top. obviously, he will lose again. Like most fighters will end up losing again. He will, I think, recover fine from this. He won't be the untouchable,
Or Bull?
but getting there. I'm gonna go Bull.
Oh, I knew it. I was trying to get that out of you. Come on.
I mean, I think he will ultimately get to the top, and in my eyes, that is recovering. Like if you're getting back to the belt, that is recovering from this loss. Now, he might not be the same untouchable, ungodly force, but if you get back to the belt, you've recovered from this loss. So I ultimately do think he will go back to the belt, and that is why I'm going to go with Bull.
Will it? All right. So I have a follow up for you. Will it be at lightweight?
Is that the division he's in now?
Yes. Do you think he goes back down?
I don't know, because it does kind of depend if Gaethje retires, because I don't think he'll fight Gaethje again. I think
Gaethje's not going to take the fight. Yeah. So
I know. So it really depends on if he's going to fight Patty and if he can beat Patty. I don't know. I think he should drop back down, but I do think he wants to ultimately win that belt back, then go up. Isn't going up to Islam, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what he wants to do. So I think he'll stay a lightweight.
Michael. Or Walter, excuse me.
Yeah, this is complete bull.
Oh, we got an Ilya Glazier at the end of the table, by the way.
No, I mean, to say that the fight was dominated is false. Ilya had the win in round 2, but we'll get into that later. And both of y'all literally said I could see him winning the title back.
Yeah.
But how in the world can you see that, but then he never recovers? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah. You're already saying he's going to win
this
the belt
version
back.
of it.
I know. I said he could win it, but this will be a lesser version of it. He will never be who he was before.
I disagree. GSP, who's one of the GOATs, lost one and recovered tremendously. And Ilya's career is already better than Justin Gaethje's. So I think he will recover just fine. I think this is a good humbling for him. I mean, was I surprised he lost? Completely surprised. But, I mean, the divisions that he's in are so stacked that he just has to stack his wins again in order for him. So, yeah, it's complete bull. Ilya Topuria will be back.
Okay.
I want to preface this. We argued about this at work. This was not my take. I want to get y'all's take on this.
Okay.
So this was
not Luke's take. Full disclaimer, because I just read it. Full disclaimer.
So we were talking about this at work.
So, well, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I want you then to give, is this cooler bull on, the non-neutral take from work that you have sitting here.
Oh, you want me to?
Yeah, because it's not your take.
So this is a guy I work with take. MJ would be an average role player in today's NBA. He called him a Sean Livingston.
Ooh.
That is kind of, he said he'd be in defense and I guess mid-range. And I'm like, I think this is complete bull. I think he was an athlete. I think he'd be able to take more advantage because he can go to the goal and instead of running into the bad boy Pistons or the Celtics and getting decked and having the Jordan rules, he'd be able to kind of take advantage of the ways the NBA is played today. Now, granted, I don't think he'd be a great three-point shooter. He'd still be able to shoot the mid-range. But then again, the other argument is if he was growing up at today's age, he might develop a three-point shot because it's so much more frequent in the game. So I think this is complete bull. He was dying on this hill, which, funny enough, the dude thinks MJ's the GOAT. And he was dying on this hill. It was very confusing. But I think MJ would be an MVP level in today's NBA. No questions asked. So I think this is complete bull.
All right, we'll go table then Chase. I think this is absolute bull. I pulled up the stats real quick. Let's talk about Michael Jordan for a second, guys. I mean, I averaged 11 field goals per game, averaged a field goal percentage of 49.7, averaged a three-point percentage even of 32.7 in a non-three-point era. Averaged 30.1 points per game, which is an all-time record. That is a completely ignoramus take. I mean, that just shows that you absolutely know nothing, not just about basketball, but about sports. I actually think Michael Jordan would be an even bigger star in today's day and age. He does not have to deal with the physicality that he had to deal with back in the late 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. I think this is an absolutely atrocious take. He would make Shai Gilgeous-Alexander look like Sean Livingston. This is horrible. I cannot believe this person uttered these words from their mouth. Complete bull. Michael, what do you think?
Yeah, to compare him to Sean Livingston is absolutely insane. I mean, could you make the argument that he would not be at his level that he did in the 80s and today? Maybe you could. I don't agree or disagree with that. That's a pretty, like controversial topic. But average play is crazy. He's just a 6'6" shooting guard, which is a great height. So with a very good dribble drive, very good athleticism, there's just no way he would just be an average role player.
Chase.
I mean, if they're talking about the version of MJ that played in the 90s, I can maybe see it. But if we're talking about Michael Jordan as a player, Michael Jordan would be even better in today's day and age. It's weaker defense. He would definitely develop a three-pointer. I mean, Anthony Edwards is kind of the carbon copy of what a modern day NBA player would look like. And I think MJ with his mentality would be even better than Ant. So, I mean, we're looking at an NBA player year in, year out. That would be absolutely fantastic. So I think this is absolute bull.
All right. Chase, what's your take, brother?
I got the World Cup is the best sporting event, and here's my reasoning. One, it brings the entire world together. I think y'all have seen it firsthand now, the amount of cultures that just are getting to interact, intermingle. It just brings the whole world together, which no other sporting event can do. It also invokes a sense of national pride that no other sporting event really can do at this level because it is the biggest international competition outside the Olympics. But I feel like Olympics are a little bit more, there's a lot of solo events, so it's easy to get behind one person instead of the team. Here you get an entire nation behind 26 people, and it's just fantastic. So in my opinion, it comes every 4 years, which makes it really special every time it comes. So I think the World Cup is the best sporting event.
Are you gonna say something?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go bull. And it's close. And this is just me personally. The way I feel about the Stanley Cup playoffs is
I knew that was going to be the one for you.
It's the World Cup is number 2 for sure. I think it clears March Madness. Not clears, but I think it's better than March Madness, especially since it comes once every 4 years. Now, if it was a once every year thing, I would agree that it would actually be a little bit lower on my list. But I've got to go bull here. I think there's nothing that excites me, draws more emotion out of me than the Stanley Cup playoffs. But I'm also a guy that watches all 82 of the Oilers games. That's just how it is. And I do like soccer. I love watching soccer. I love watching the World Cup. I have yet to miss a game that I haven't been at work for. So I mean, it's absolutely top 2, but it's not 1. It does bring the whole world together. I feel extreme sense of national pride, not only for the United States, which we live in, but for the countries that my family came from, England and Poland. It does bring a sense of, it's a different kind of fandom, I guess, maybe. That it's just kind of it's deeper than just me rooting for the Oilers. It's this is the blood. This is the land I grew up on. So yeah, I completely understand your argument, and it's honestly a cool take. But just for me personally, it is bull. I'm just too big. I'm too big on the Stanley Cup Finals and playoffs. Luke, what do you think?
Now, soccer is not my most favorite sport to watch. I've been getting into it watching this World Cup.
Yeah, I got to give it to you, dude. You've been on this,
but
I love it. I've been loving it.
Yeah, I think this is completely cool in the sense of I'm not shooting at the NHL. The NHL is America's. The World Cup
in Canada.
The Americas.
Yeah. Okay.
So, World Cup is everywhere. You've seen the videos of people from Scotland, Germany, everything, just being appalled of being here. If we were to go over, say the World Cup was in England, you'd probably see the same sort of thing from people having a culture shock. It brings the whole world together. It mixes all sorts of different people from backgrounds, countries, languages. Japanese people, going to Texas is the funniest thing ever.
Excited.
Everything.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think this is a completely cool take because it encompasses the whole world. Now, it's not my favorite sporting event, but it encompasses the whole world, and it just gets you want to root for America. You don't want America to lose. So I think this is a completely cool take, Chase.
Michael.
Yeah, I'm gonna segue into this. I completely think this is a cool take. It's definitely up there with the top. It is definitely the biggest sporting event, obviously. Now, best is very subjective based on your liking, but I think one of the best things about it is that it happens every 4 years. I think that
Great.
it being every year would not be as special, and obviously the games are just more entertaining, and I think it's a very cool take. So that kind of segues into my cooler bowl is that soccer games are actually entertaining because I've been flipped on this because I one of the biggest arguments for soccer is that there's really not a lot of entertaining stuff happening except for like when the goal happens, which is like I guess really like 2 to 3 minutes out of the whole 90 minute to 90 plus minute game. But it might just because it's the World Cup and maybe they're trying their hardest. Because I mean, obviously that's like the same as like NBA. Like maybe they won't try harder like regular season games and stuff. But the World Cup soccer games are like I feel like I'm watching it and at the start of the game and like a blink of an eye, it's pretty much at the 40, 45 minute mark. Like it's super quick till half, which means that it's really entertaining. So yeah, I mean, I'm buying into the soccer games right now.
Uh, I'll kick us off because I know what Chase's take is going to be on this. I feel like all of our listeners do as well. I'm completely cool on this, and Chase knows this as well. I mean, before I was working, and I, had rest on the weekdays, I used to get up in the morning and little stream East, the Wickham Wanderers, and or pay for an EFL subscription. My team over across the pond. Soccer is a very entertaining sport to watch, especially when either, it's the World Cup, but like if you're rooting for a team that's in the promotion or relegation battle and, like League One, I mean, these players have a lot of heart. They're very more fast-paced games than people give it a lot of credit for. They're very entertaining. The time goes by very fast. Every moment is crucial. And that's why I think I have such a big draw to hockey is because soccer is basically hockey with less physicality and a little bit slower speed. I love the way this sport is played. I mean, I went and saw my girlfriend play every single game when she was playing in college and was having an absolute time of my life doing it. I mean, soccer is a very underrated sport here in the United States. I wish we would have a little bit of a bigger domestic professional league. I wish they would get a little bit more behind it. I think it would be if I think there would be, and this is not completely a little bit off topic, but I think it would be if there were better quality players that would come over here and play, which also means if we had more money invested into the MLS and we were able to pay the transfer fees for these better quality players, then, I think soccer would truly explode in the United States. Having the World Cup here in 2026 with all the social media, I think is actually an awesome segue to this. Just as like Nashville, exploded with hockey after going to the Stanley Cup Finals. This is a completely cool take. Love the take. Luke, what do you think?
Yeah, and also to kind of piggyback off that, I think that colleges, I don't think.
Yeah, we do need a better college
because
soccer system. Yeah.
There's really no way for you to get players. But I'm going to completely agree with this. Now, I might not watch like the Premier League and all that stuff, but this is very entertaining to me. I was watching it at work today. I mean, I'm thoroughly entertained. If I was not entertained, I would not be watching.
I mean, I'm watching it right now.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
so I would be watching. I've watched this over the College World Series. So like, I've been watching that.
I've been a little too time in them, but if it's not Troy playing, I have been watching the World Cup over the game.
So I mean, I think it's very valid take. It's very entertaining. There's still a lot of action if you just watch it. I mean, I always have been in the mindset that soccer is just kind of you kick it a little bit, you might score, you might not. It's actually pretty entertaining. So I'm gonna go with this take.
Especially when you got a little coinage on it. Yeah, did you see the Messi goal?
Messi scored to start.
Oh, Chase, go ahead. Just go ahead and go on it, brother.
I actually agree with all y'all's takes completely. I will say, Will, that they are trying to expand the game. Like you see them bringing over players like Messi, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, like stuff. The thing that the next step for the MLS is to, instead of getting all these like class players when they're past their primes, they need to start getting everybody in their primes.
That's what I'm saying. But I mean, that requires
funding, and so the biggest issue is that
for transfers.
They still have salary caps in the MLS. They still have rules where you can't spend more than like you bring in and all this stuff, and so it just has to continue to grow. But I think it's growing in the United States. Like if you look 30 years ago, soccer wasn't even a thing in the United States. So I mean, just say where we're at there to now, I think this World Cup, if the U.S. goes far, Like that's why everybody's looked at this World Cup as super important. If the U.S. goes far, we're going to have a lot of young soccer players growing up, and I think to Luke's point, you've got to create a better system for going pro. You have to have better academies. You have to incentivize players to, you know, play soccer at a younger age. You got to get more college opportunities. Like not every Division I program has like a soccer program. So I'll give you a prime example. Texas has 29 or 30 Division I universities, and 3 of them have men's soccer programs. So that obviously has to change as well. But
Title IX.
I think this is a completely cool take from Michael. I mean, I of course think these games are super entertaining. I love the passion from the fans. At times, like if we like at times, I think games can get a little monotonous, especially when one team has a lot of possession. But just these World Cup games, the stakes are so high. It means so much to the players. Everything's on a knife edge. I think it's super entertaining. So completely cool take.
And I do want to point this out. I want to kind of piggyback on my own take, but also kind of what you said. We need promotion and relegation in our professional
Agreed.
American soccer leagues. The USL Championship needs to be promoted to the MLS, and vice versa, relegated to the USL Championship. We have the leagues. We have USL 2. We have USL 1. We have the North American Soccer League. I mean, there are the leagues here for it. They just need to buy into the promotion and relegation side, and I think that would make it a lot more entertaining other than like a 16-team playoff for a championship no one gives a shit about. NBA Finals, guys. Wow. 5 games. It took 5 games. The New York Knicks won 4-1 in the series with, again, the greatest comeback in NBA Finals, NBA playoffs, really history with a 29-point deficit at the half. They also come back on a 13-0 run to end Game 5. So I think the story of the NBA Finals was, 1, Wemby did not show up in the big moments. 2, the Spurs just had a complete inability to close out games. I mean, they just could not close out.
They led
basketball
for
games.
72% of the series.
Yeah, they led for 72% of the series. They had role players not necessarily role players, but younger players like Dylan Harper come up huge in these games, like Stephon Castle, Vassell. I mean, Champagny had good games in this series for San Antonio, but it just was not enough to take down Jalen Brunson going absolutely nuclear. OG Anunoby being an absolute contributor. I mean, but let's just face it, guys. New York's second best player, Karl Anthony Towns, was a completely non-factor in this series. He literally scored 2 points in Game 5. Yet the Spurs could not maintain a lead because essentially their assholes got tight. They choked towards the end and whenever it was getting late in the game, and they allowed New York and Jalen Brunson to take over with the complete flow and controlling the flow of the game. That's my take as far as it goes. San Antonio should have at least drugged this out to 6. Should have really gone 7 the way they've been playing. Luke, what is your final take as we wrap up this NBA season?
Yeah, I think their main downfall was, I'm going to compare them to the Memphis Tigers. Like, when Memphis comes out this year and would hit like a 3 or 2, you knew you were screwed because they were just going to start chunking them. The Spurs would come out and hit some threes and just would never go inside. The one game they won, they went inside. Every game they lost, they just fell in love with the 3 ball. And I think that was ultimately their downfall. And then Wemby has to kind of take over. He can't be so passive. I think he really needed to take over some games in the series, and he just did not really do it. But, I mean, he's going to be a stud in the league forever, so the Spurs will get one eventually. But if the New York Knicks are winning it this year, the Cowboys are next up. So
hell yeah, brother. Michael.
Yeah, I agree with the fact that Wemby I feel like it was Wemby just didn't show up in the big moments. He kind of crumbled under the pressure a little on some just aspects, whether it's like missing free throws or bad turnovers and stuff. But I think he really has to give more credit to Jalen Brunson. I think Jalen Brunson in his whole career has gone underrated as he levels it up in the playoffs. And since he had that big contract year in Dallas when they were making the debate of he needs to have a big playoff here to get a huge signing contract in the offseason, he averaged 21 points for that last year with the Mavericks. Then since the Knicks in the playoffs, he's averaged 27.8, 32.4, 29.4, and 28.4. So he has drastically leveled up his game in the playoffs. And, yeah, I mean, he was obviously the MVP after the bad Anunoby game, but I think it's more surprising that how dominant they won with Cat being basically a non-factor. And I don't know if this. Obviously, the Spurs are going to try and ship De'Aaron Fox. I mean, I would. I don't mean his contract is awful. So, but I agree with Luke in the aspect that the Spurs are probably winning 2 championships in the next 3 years. So,
Chase.
I don't necessarily know if the Spurs are winning 2 championships in the next 3 years. Like, I love this Spurs team, don't get me wrong. But Oklahoma City has 2 top 20 draft picks this year to go along with that already stacked roster. Um, we don't know what Luka Doncic, like a healthy playoff Luka Doncic, can do. You know, maybe if the Lakers move off of LeBron, we don't know what Anthony Edwards can do if the T-Wolves make a good run. Like there's so many factors. You don't know what the Knicks are going to look like next year, or the Celtics with a
Phoenix
fully
Suns.
healthy Jason Tatum.
don't.
I mean, the Suns, yeah, anybody, like literally anybody could come out anywhere. So I don't necessarily know what this hard Western Conference, if the Spurs will get back right away. I'd like to think so. I think Wembanyama's a fantastic player. Unfortunately, I just thought that the Spurs were a fantastic team through 3 quarters. The 4th quarter was like a nightmare for them in every single game. And the Knicks, throughout this entire playoffs, closed fantastically in every single game. But man, the Spurs, they just couldn't get it done. And I don't really quite understand it because, like, you know, you shoot well for 3 quarters of the game and you get in the 4th and you just can't make a shot. Drive the ball, like Luke said. Stop jacking up threes in the 4th quarter. If you see 4 or 5 don't go in, I mean, to the point where you're 2 of 16 from the field, start driving, start trying to draw fouls, get to the line. It makes no sense to me. And I just thought that they completely mismanaged the game. And then there was times like they turned the ball over or get a shot clock violation, just poor offense where they were moving the ball around really well in the first half. And this allowed the Knicks to come back in games. Like, I mean, realistically, if we're looking at how the games played out, series should probably be 3-2 with a game 6 happening right now. So it just blows my mind. But, you know, I think that the deserving team probably won. I mean, Jalen Brunson was absolutely fantastic. So congrats to the Knicks, and I'm glad New York didn't burn down.
Something's burned it down. Like a school bus.
Which apparently
Yeah, the school bus, but that was it. I mean, I didn't see anything else that was that.
My
You're
favorite
crazy,
video
so.
was
Yeah, I know which one.
my favorite video. One of my favorite videos was like they were celebrating, and it just pans to the right, and it's just a random Morocco fan that just came from the soccer game, and he's like, "What is going on?"
That's
I
awesome.
like the firework one.
The
You should-
firework video is also hilarious.
Also, apparently, Europeans didn't think school buses were real. They thought that was something in the movies. I didn't think that that's actually what they looked like. So, yeah.
It's so funny.
Onto the ice now. I mean, what a flip. The Carolina Hurricanes win 4 straight and beat the Vegas Golden Knights. I believe it was 4 straight. Hold on, let me fact check that. Now that I think
Yeah, it was 2. It was 2.
I thought that.
No,
I thought
it
Carolina
was 2-1
won games too.
Carolina.
Yeah, it was 1-1. It was 2-1 Vegas. They win 3 straight. Carolina did. Winning 4-2 on Thursday, and then 3-0 on Sunday. And we saw the tide flip, guys. Really, yes. Michael highlighted it last episode, and they came back down 4-0, even though they lost that game in overtime. You saw the momentum flip. The ice started tilting. Carolina's forecheck started getting more aggressive. They were able to clog up the lanes, create turnovers. They were crisper in their passing. They were ramping up the shot attempts when they were kind of doing the Montreal thing in the first 3 games, or first 2.5, when they were down 4-0, of trying to be selective with their shot attempts. Like they were a little bit scared of being so aggressive in the actual Cup final. But they went back to what was working for them in the Eastern Conference side of things. They were bombarding the net. They were trying to get tip-ins. They were trying to get dirty goals, just shooting the puck at the net. They were playing aggressive on the forecheck. The penalty kill was great. The power play was firing on all cylinders. Jordan Stahl showed up in the absolute biggest moments for Carolina. I was absolutely impressed, and the best team in the playoffs this year did win the Stanley Cup Finals. Carolina has dominated all playoffs. I thought this was going to happen, and it did. I thought it was going to be in 5 games. Ended up being in 6. Guys, let's wrap up the NHL season now. What did you take away from the Stanley Cup Final as Carolina hoists their 2nd Stanley Cup?
Yeah, I think my prediction was originally in 6, and I'm actually kind of shocked I got it right. But the best team did ultimately win. I was a little scared there for a minute, obviously, but like Michael said, I do think the 4-goal deficit almost coming back changed the mojo of everything. So, yeah, I got nothing else to say.
Michael.
Yeah, I mean, once that game happened, it was basically complete dominance from Carolina. I don't really think any other game was close. I think almost every result was at least a 2-goal result. So I'm very impressed by Carolina. I'm glad they made a decision to go with Bussy and they kept it because I think that was also a big flip.
And I think
Putting
this is a
Anderson-
good point by you here on the goaltenders. Carter Hart's performance dropped down
It did.
tremendously.
He was amazing in Colorado Avalanche series, and he did have a dip in performance. And at first, it was fine because Anderson wasn't playing good either. But once they put in Bussy, it flipped that with the 4-goal almost comeback win, flipped the whole script. And yeah, complete dominance from Carolina since
Yeah,
then.
good pickup there. Ever since they went to Brandon Bussey, they really did flip the switch, and he was just much more reliable in net. And he kind of was during the regular season as well. I was surprised they didn't start the playoffs with him, and it seemed to not matter. Chase, wrap it up in the Stanley
I
Cup.
thought Bussy was fantastic. I thought that was the complete reason why Carolina flipped this series. Credit to their coach for making such a tough decision, especially when Freddie Anderson had gotten them all the way to the Stanley Cup final. I mean, that takes a lot of balls. So, I mean, I thought that was the key in this series was goaltending, and I think Carolina probably was the best team and started playing, like you guys said, played the best hockey throughout the entire Stanley Cup playoffs. I don't think we had them winning it all. None of us really expected it, but throughout the Stanley Cup playoffs, they by far were the best team, dominated in every series that they were in, and they deserved this.
College baseball time over at the College World Series. Me and Michael were boots on ground, and we kicked it off on Friday afternoon as the Troy boys fell to West Virginia for the first of 2 times, 7-5. Very entertaining game. Was back and forth until West Virginia was able to get 2 runs in the bottom of the 8th to take a commanding 7-5 lead that ended up being the winner. Ole Miss and North Carolina. Ole Miss punched first. They were up early on the heels. North Carolina was able to garner some offense later in the game to win that one 6-2, really driving away with it. Also in the 8th inning from the Rebs. Sorry, just got distracted by Chase.
Okay, take over if you need to.
No, it's all good. If you want to, though, take the floor, man.
Yeah, I mean,
What happened on that other side of the bracket on Saturday?
yeah, first game, Oklahoma, Alabama. Very great game by the Oklahoma pitcher. Pretty much shoved Alabama. They did not score a single run. And man, this Oklahoma team is starting to look like a really good, dang good baseball team. And then Texas, Georgia, another shove from the Georgia pitcher. He pitched amazing. And Texas just couldn't get the bats going. And yeah, so then Georgia moved on. And then Texas dominated Alabama with Rodriguez, their shortstop. Texas hitting the cycle, 3rd ever cycle in College World Series history, which is pretty cool. And then now their game's going on right now, and I think it's 1-0 Georgia, and another really good pitching duel. But yeah, the SEC Invitational sides turned out to be pretty good. I would just ask y'all what y'all's just like give me some takes of what y'all think so far, and then I guess your biggest surprise, except for you can't say Oklahoma.
I'll be honest with you. Man, my biggest surprise is West Virginia, especially with the way they handled Troy today. This is a red-hot Troy team. Yes, I do think Troy, ran out of pitching, as me and Michael talked about off camera, and just kind of ran out of gas, man. I mean, this is a team that's played more games than everybody else in the field right now. And man, I was heartbroken that we not only lost today, but got blanked 12-0. Yes, it was really like kind of 7-0. We started throwing some pylons in there that were seniors to get just some time in the College World Series final. But I mean, West Virginia, man, they are just completely have impressed me. This is a team I was not very big on coming into the entire tournament. Picked Cal Poly in the Supers. Picked against them again here in the College World Series. This team can hit, and they manufacture runs very well by base running. Their base running is something you don't really see very often in today's college baseball. And their leadoff guy, Guzman, I mean, he can just fly around the bases. He gave Troy a lot of trouble with that. Troy made way too many defensive errors to win the games against West Virginia and just could not capitalize with runners on base. But the pitching was able to shut it down with 2 outs, which is something we haven't been able to see out of any team that Troy has faced this year. Shout out to the Trojans, though, for taking care of Ole Miss, taking them to the dumpster. That literally made my entire weekend, and you'll see that on Best of the Weekend. And then otherwise, man, dude, who would have thought Oklahoma would have beaten Georgia? But you said don't touch on Oklahoma, so I will skip over that. Luke, what did you take away from the CWS? What's your biggest surprise so far?
My biggest surprise, now I wasn't biggest fan of Bama coming into this, but Bama losing 2 games, essentially no contest too. I think that's the biggest surprise. They got 9-0'd by Oklahoma, then 14 to 2 by Texas. And this was a top super. They hosted a super, right?
Yeah,
And
they were the 7th-ranked team.
They were the top seed in the country. And just to come to the College World Series and get absolutely just murdered in both your games. Now, if you would have lost both of them, sure, you got there. But to just get bent over and done unholy things to, I think is a huge shock for Alabama. So,
Chase, what was your biggest shock, other than Oklahoma, obviously, for the College World Series so far?
I kind of agree with Luke. I think Alabama that was very shocking the way they got absolutely dismantled. I would say it was also for me, it was a little shocking today how the Troy boys went out. I don't want to really diss them because getting here was a tremendous feat, but it was a little shocking to lose to West Virginia the way they lost today as well.
And you were, taking care of things while I said it. I really think, man, we played more games than anyone else. This was game 71, I believe.
Yeah, Troy.
I mean, we just ran out of pitching and we ran out of steam.
Troy also was very good in the postseason in 2-out RBIs, and they had multiple opportunities with 2 outs against West Virginia, and they finally just didn't come through. I think that bases loaded 2 times. One time it just was with 2 outs, and then another time was with 0 outs and still manufactured 0 runs. And then when you can't do that, it's gonna put way more pressure on your pitching, because like in the Ole Miss game, the pitching wasn't much on pressure because they were seeing the ball very well against Ole Miss's pitchers, and then West Virginia's pitching was very good. I'm very intrigued for this North Carolina-West Virginia matchup because West Virginia pretty much gave them the win yesterday with 2 very costly errors in the 7th inning. So I think it's going to be pretty close. I could see it going a game 3. And then on the other side, no matter who wins between Georgia and Texas, I think is winning the first game again and then going to game 3 as well. But then at that point, it doesn't matter because Oklahoma's playing lights out. I mean, you can't give them any greater praise than, I mean, they're on the hardest side, I think, and they're the undefeated team so far.
They went through Georgia Tech too.
Go back real quick. Who do you want, now that Troy is out, who do you want to win it? I am going to go ahead and say Georgia. I think they're just the most deserving of the teams. Not necessarily the team that got hot at the right time, but the team that has just dominated all year offensively. Give me the Georgia Dogs. That's who I want to win the championship. Chase, I know who you're going to say, so go ahead.
I don't even need to say it. They're losing right now 1-0 to Georgia, but I'd love to see Texas win another national championship.
Who do you want, and why is it West Virginia?
No, I actually want Texas.
Oh, wow, that's even worse.
No, I do kind of want West Virginia. I've always messed with the Mountaineers, Bob Huggins.
Yeah, I did mess with the Mountaineers until I went to the game. And
but
their fans were great to us.
I mean, they were very nice, but God, dude, you should see social media right now. I mean,
their burners are bad because they're kind of a baseball school, but
yeah.
But no, I'd say from the left side, West Virginia, because I hate North Carolina. Right side, I can mess with Texas.
I really like the Carolina fans, to be honest with you.
I hate North Carolina.
They were super nice. I mean, the West Virginia fans were too. The only fans I honestly, funny enough, that kind of seemed to have issues were OU.
We didn't have any issues with them.
Just watching the crowd. Never mind.
Yeah.
Huge fan of OU. I want them to win it all.
I was about to
I was thinking about that one guy that was getting into it, the Bama fans.
That was crap.
I don't know what was going on there. I'm sure the Bama dudes were actually the ones that were being annoying, and Oklahoma finally put it away, and he just kind of unleashed hell on them, which was hilarious, by the way. I mean, he had the entire 2 sections turning around looking at him. But no, I definitely want OU to win. Shout out to
I don't know their name.
Oh, got their names. But we sat down with this lovely
They're on
couple.
my best week.
They're on your best of the weekend. All right, I'll let Michael take it. Shout out Oklahoma. They actually have great fans. They have wonderful people, and I will always root for the Sooners over the Longhorns now because of these two people. But yeah, who do you want to win it, Michael?
That's terrible.
My prediction's still there of a West Virginia Georgia final, so that's what I'm going to ride with, and Georgia winning it. I think Georgia is the best team still in the country, and I think they're going to find a way to get it done.
All right, NASCAR, baby. It was in Pocono over in the mountains or hills of Pennsylvania, not Cincinnati, Ohio. For the Miller Tech Battery 250 in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, we had a winner chicken dinner. Someone went perfect on the weekend in NASCAR, and that would be the Chaser. He had Justin Allgaier in the 7 car, who ran a best lap of 55.34 seconds, winning from the number 4 position. Luke had Sheldon Creed, who came in 5th, another stunning run from Sheldon Creed without a victory. Then I had Connor Zillich, who came in 9th. Over to the Cup Series now, Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin went back-to-back. Me and Chaser had that one right. He wins in Pocono. Again, Denny Hamlin has been absolutely dominant at this track. Saw this one coming a mile away. However, Kyle Larson, again, 2 fifth-place finishes here for Luke. 2 top 5s, just not enough to get it done. And now I'm going to do a little toss over to Chaser. Talk to us about F1.
So F1, this was a pretty historic race because Kimi Antonelli could have set the rookie record for most consecutive wins in a row for Mercedes, and it kind of looks like it was George Russell's race to win coming into the weekend. George Russell had Will's guy, was the best through qualifying, earned P1 on the grid, but Lewis Hamilton with the new and improved Ferrari, they got an update package this week, actually was only a couple tenths of a second behind George Russell the entire time in qualifying. So kind of how the race started, George Russell took P1 off the start, and then Lewis Hamilton was right on his trail, and kind of things broke the way of Ferrari, and Lewis Hamilton ended up winning his first race for Ferrari, bringing his record total from 105 to 106. Which is a huge number, but huge for Lewis Hamilton. Kimi Antonelli actually passed George Russell up in the final couple laps, and his car broke down, so he got a DNF for me and Mikey, and so George Russell ended up finishing in second with the Mercedes car, and look, with Verstappen, I believe he finished 4th or 5th.
No top 5.
Luke's just a lot.
No top 5.
All right, World Cup.
World Cup.
All right, we got to start off Friday. It was great. They started off with Canada versus Bosnia. Bosnia honestly jumped out to an early goal lead and then defended for the rest of the game. And I'm sure, Will, you were pretty excited when Canada got the goal in the 78th minute. Kyle Larson. I mean, not Kyle Larson. What's his name?
Kyle Larson be a NASCAR driver, brother.
Yeah, that's NASCAR. I'm thinking, hold on, it's another Kyle.
Lauren, brother.
Yeah, Kyle Lauren. Yeah. Kyle Larson, same difference. Scored a great goal in the 78th minute to tie it up. Honestly, a game that probably could have gone to Canada, looking back on it, but Canada scores its first point ever at the World Cup. And then the game we all want to talk about, U.S. Paraguay. U.S. comes out blistering hot, gets an own goal, then 2 goals from Fuller and Balogun, and then an absolute stunner at the end from Gio Reyna. Probably the best U.S. World Cup performance we've seen ever. Switzerland tied Qatar. This was a game that Switzerland absolutely had to win. They got an early penalty from Bombito, and then I don't know, it's something like that. Hold on, they got an early penalty from Mbolo, and then couldn't really break down Qatar's defensive line, and Qatar scored a late goal. It was actually an own goal off Switzerland's Miro Muhen to tie the game. It looks like Qatar probably got more than they deserve. Switzerland should have won this game. And then Brazil-Morocco, thought Morocco was absolutely outstanding.
I thought they were class. I thought they were class in this
absolutely
game.
Class. This is a great game from the standpoint. Saibari looked great up top for Morocco, scored a great goal. Vinny Jr. in his own right scored a really good goal, but I just don't think this Brazil team looks like Brazil teams of the past. They look a little lethargic. Not a ton of creativity from the midfield, so was it definitely an interesting matchup, but honestly, I thought Morocco deserved all 3 points coming from this game. It was a good game, but definitely thought Morocco outplayed Brazil. Scotland beat Haiti, but Haiti,
Dude,
man,
Haiti looked
Haiti.
way better than Scotland did in this match.
I agree. James McGinn scored an early goal for Scotland, and they just kind of held on for dear life and prayed. Haiti was attacking well, probably should have won this game, but just couldn't finish. And then the nightcap, I believe it started at 11 p.m. Central. It was at 12 a.m., and I stayed up for part of it, didn't make it all the way through. But the
Hogan ball,
Socceroos, the
baby.
Aussies, oh my gosh.
Hogan
Called
ball.
it. I called it.
He did.
Maybe
Michael
the
called
upset
it.
of the
It's our
tournament.
last leg of my parlay.
He
right
did.
there.
The upset of the tournament.
Can
but,
I read off the stat sheet real quick for this?
Of course.
Turkey outpossessed Australia 72% to 28%, had 30 total shots versus Australia's 9, and had 51 touches in the opposition box versus Australia's 18. This was Bogan ball to a T. Australia's counterattack and ability to score and then essentially
elite.
just try to hold on for dear life was some of the funniest. I didn't get to stay up and watch the whole thing because me and Michael had a flight, but it was some of the funniest football I've seen played in a while. I mean, it was true Bogan ball, but please continue.
Well, I want to talk about Iran Kunda from Nestor Iran Kunda, the left winger from Watford. Absolutely pace abused the entire game on the counterattack, was blistering. The first goal he scored was fantastic, and then the late goal scored by Metcalf was absolutely astounding too. I thought Beach, the young goalkeeper, they went away from their starter. What's his name? I'm gonna pull it up. Matty Ryan, who had been the longtime starter for Australia. They went away from him before the tournament, and I thought that was an absolute fantastic decision. Beach played phenomenal. Australia, I mean, couldn't have been a better result for the United States coming away from this. I mean, this absolutely helps our chances out tremendously, but great game from the Socceroos. And then Germany, Curacao, I think the scoreline flatters Germany a little bit. I actually thought Curacao played with Germany, especially in the first half, really well. But Germany,
30 minutes, for sure.
For the first 30 minutes, I think we all can agree Germany has probably been the best finishing team in the tournament. Maybe hasn't created the most chances, but when they get their opportunities or even the half chances, they're scoring. Felix Nemencha was absolutely fantastic in this game. Kai Havertz looks good again. Florian Wirtz looks great. I mean, this Germany team looks ready to roll. And then probably I think we can all say this might have been the best game so far.
Yes, it has
Netherlands,
been.
Japan.
I think it has.
Michael shaking his head. Big Dutch fan over here. Dude, let me tell you, the late equalizer by Kamada in the 88th. The header,
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. I mean, I was
And
I
it
was
was
rooting for
even
the
crazier
Netherlands, had
on
money on
the
them, but
announcers.
man.
The announcers the whole time, they're like, oh, no way Japan scores off a corner. Why do they keep crossing it in? They're so short.
Scored.
And then they score from a header. It was crazy. It was scenes.
It was absolutely poetic the way the Japanese tied that one up. But let me, get on to this other game. Absolute thriller up until the end, until that late game winner by the Ivory Coast.
Yep. Amad Diallo scored an absolutely great game winner, but back and forth game. Ecuador looked good at parts. But Yan Diomande for Ivory Coast was torching people on the right wing, left and right. This kid's 19 years old and was getting double teamed, triple teamed, guarded by one of the best left backs in the world with Pero Hincapié. And I mean, I thought Yan Diomande looked great. Ivory Coast looks like they could be a sneaky team. Ecuador was one of the best teams in common ball qualifying. So this was a huge result for Ivory Coast.
Don't get me wrong, Ecuador had some class in this game, had chances.
Oh, they did.
as well, but
no
just
question.
The holes opened up late in that match, and Ivory Coast speed just kind of took over.
Yeah, Ivory Coast definitely looked the more athletic team, and I think their pace kind of scares me. Them in Australia looked like some of the more athletic teams, and I guess you could throw the United States in there as well. It's really athletic. And then Sweden dominated Tunisia so bad that Tunisia fired their coach already.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fired their coach. Already have a new coach hired. I don't know what's going on with their federation. They fired five coaches since the last World Cup. So in 4 years, they've gone through 5 coaches. There's something wrong with that federation, but Sweden looked good. Gyökeres and Isak up top looked good, and then before I butcher his name, let me get it right. Ayari scored absolutely two beautiful goals for Sweden. They looked really good, but to be fair, it was also against Tunisia.
Also, I think the dude they subbed on had like one of the fastest goals in World Cup from like coming
Yes.
onto the field or whatever.
Svanberg or whatever his name
Yeah, he
was.
scored in like a minute or something. So
Yeah, he did. He scored in like 30 seconds, and they said it was offsides initially, but they said there was like a touch. It was kind of controversial, but it was still like, I mean, to score your first World Cup
Yeah,
goal
that way.
like being a minute on is crazy.
yeah.
Anyway, Luke, you've been locked in, and so as Will and Chase. I haven't really been too
Do
much.
we not have another slide?
No, we do. But I
Yeah,
was
we have
just-
another slide.
Okay.
No, but I was just gonna say, do you want to give a shout out to a team?
From the first three,
Yeah, from
the slides.
match days 2 through 4. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and let's nix out the U.S. here. No, we've glazed enough.
Oh,
Yeah, we've glazed enough. My shout out to Japan, to be honest with you. I mean, this was kind of their biggest mismatch in the group based on a size discrepancy alone. I thought set pieces were going to be a real trouble for Japan, and they kind of were until the end when they were able to get that late equalizer. But this Japanese team, as me and Chase absolutely highlighted pre-tournament, their defensive what's the word I'm looking for? Discipline is absolutely tremendous. This is a team that passes with great accuracy, that is able to keep in formation, mark their man well, and was able to come out with a point against the Netherlands. I also want to give a huge shout out to a team that lost in Haiti. I think I completely underestimated Haiti in this tournament. I think they are
Right.
going to be able to compete in that group, and I'm kind of had written them off as a team that I thought was going to lose 3-0, maybe 3-1 to Scotland. However, they completely outclassed the Scottish players. So shout out on the losing side to Haiti, but absolute shout out to Japan on match days 2 through 4. Luke.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to. I'm gonna kick some rocks at some people. I think Brazil for 6th in the world. If that's 6th in the world, that is terrible. I mean, they had a few chances where they could have scored. And Morocco, not hating on them, played extremely well. But you would have thought Brazil, being the country it is, expecting more. It's not the Brazil of old where I think you're fearing them. It's like, oh, you're playing Brazil. I don't think that's a big thing. And then I also want to shout out Japan. I thought they were down and out, and my God, that equalizer was amazing.
Yeah.
I think they looked great. And then shout out Australia. I did not think Australia was going to end up winning that game, much less winning it 2-0. I didn't stay up for this. I went to bed, but I can't believe they won 2-0. I thought my parlay was free, but it obviously was not. So
All right, Chase, I'm vetoing Will. Put your glaze on the United States right now. Let's go.
well, I obviously I'm going to shout out the United States. We looked fantastic. I'm so excited for our next game against Australia. I mean, this is the best performance I think the U.S. has ever put forth in a World Cup game. I mean, it's a Paraguay team. It's ranked 27th in the world, or maybe no, they're 40th, but it doesn't matter. This is a team that's beaten Brazil, beaten Argentina, and beaten Ecuador. Three teams I would say are well regarded in national team ranks. And we just absolutely dismantled them and dominated them. It could have been more. I've said this again and again. We missed some sitters that it probably could have been 7 or 8-1. I mean, I thought our defense was fantastic. Offensively looked quick and electric. Pulisic was great on the wing. Balogun was clinical. Serginho Dest was quick. I mean, midfield controlled the game. Chris Richards didn't misplace one pass. I mean, this U.S. team looked fantastic. So they're my first shout out. And then for my second shout out, I'm going to talk again. I think we all loved what we saw from Japan and Australia. I think they were the two biggest surprises. Netherlands obviously performed well. I think that their coach subbing off Somerville and Gakpo so early kind of gave the Japanese a leg back in the game, but Japan looked great. I mean, Kamado played a great game in midfield, and then I thought when Ito came on the wing, I mean, he was torching, I think it was Mickey Van de Ven for the Dutch. And then Australia, obviously, the upset of the tournament so far, beating Turkey. I mean, that was just huge.
All right, moving on. Do y'all want to? Oh, never mind. Here we go. Talk about.
Yeah, let's just touch
Yeah.
up on this real quick. Chase, I'm sure you agree, absolute class from Cape Verde's goalkeeper in a 0-0 draw
Huge.
against Spain, although Spain did dominate. Finishing was a complete inability from the Spaniards. I didn't get to watch the Belgium-Egypt game What did you think coming out of that one?
It was kind of a cagey affair. I thought, love how Michael led with with saying that soccer isn't boring. I thought Belgium Egypt was actually quite a boring game. Wasn't super impressed with what either team put forward. It looked like Egypt was actually probably the better team through most of the game. I thought Belgium looked a little bit nervous and tactically unsure at times. I think a 1-1 draw was a fair result. I think the game changed when Lukaku came on. I think Belgium probably is a little bit disappointed they didn't take more away from this game. And then Saudi Arabia, Uruguay. Saudi Arabia actually played a really good game through 60 minutes. Uruguay did not look great. Should have probably lost this game, but came on in the last 20 minutes and looked like they probably could have won it. So I think the draw was fair there. And then Iran, New Zealand might be the game of the tournament. I mean, this was an absolutely fantastic game considering the conditions that Iran is having to play through right now. It looked great, but also New Zealand played fantastic for, a country that was not expected to do much. So it was a great game last night. And then today, France, Senegal, first half was unwatchable. France, I don't even think had a shot on target through 45 minutes. In the second half, France just came alive. Kylian Mbappe scoring a brace. Second goal was fantastic. They're off. You just can't hold that offense down for forever. Senegal looked good in their own right too, which gives me hope for like teams like the United States who looked really good against them. And did he score again?
Erling Haaland first.
Well, Erling Haaland, I mean, scored a brace. Norway looks great against Iraq. Second half especially. Norway looks like they're going to be a pretty good tournament. Messi has a brace against Algeria right now. I mean, I'm a Ronaldo guy, but man, this dude might be the GOAT. So I think we can all agree though on this slide, Cape Verde was by far and away the most surprising result here. Their goalkeeper went from 50,000 followers. His name is Vozinha. He went from 50,000 followers to 4 million followers yesterday on Instagram. I mean, just super class performance. He had 7 saves. His XG prevented is 1.5 goals. So that means like Spain would have scored 2 goals if he wasn't in net. So, I mean, it was absolutely fantastic from the Cape Verde goalie.
All right. On to the upcoming schedule. I'm just going to skip this slide actually and just go to our prediction slide, and we can talk about these games on here too. So, actually, no, there's more games over here. So, Chase, you want to go on?
What I say? Do we only have
tomorrow? We've got
games
the
on
true
here?
GOAT Ronaldo starts off his
Thursday,
World Cup
yes.
campaign against the Democratic Republic of the
on
Congo.
Canada.
Followed that an hour later by England Croatia, which should be a cracking match. And then the 2 night games, we've got Ghana, Panama, and then Uzbekistan, Colombia, which should be a fun one. Then on Thursday, Czechia plays South Africa in the morning. Then we follow it with Switzerland versus Bosnia and Herzegovina. Then Canada in a must-win game against Qatar. And then the nightcap is Mexico versus South Korea, which is for the lead in Group A. Should be a banger.
So let's go back real quick. Just quick picks for the games that we did not have highlighted on the next slide. I am going to go Ghana 1-0 over Panama.
I second that. I'm going Ghana as well.
I will also be going Ghana.
Panama 1-0.
I'm going to go Colombia 4-1 over Uzbekistan. Chase, you win next.
I'm gonna go 5-1 Colombia over Uzbekistan. Luis Diaz is gonna be too much for them.
I'll go Colombia 4-0.
I'll go 3-0 Colombia.
And then I'm going to go Canada. They're going to get back on track here 3-1 over Qatar.
Canada sucks. 1-1.
Chase.
This was a tricky one because I don't think Canada drops points to Qatar, but I also thought Canada would win against Bosnia and Herzegovina. I'm going to say, I'm going to say Canada 2-1.
Luke.
I'm going to go a draw 1-1.
Bang. All right, now on to the, better games of the slate. Portugal versus DRC. I got it going 3-1 with a Ronaldo hat trick.
Wow. Oh, okay.
I love it.
I was going to go down the line, but that's fine.
Yeah, Mike.
Yeah, jumping in on it. Look, I'll go Ronaldo 2 goals, but I'm going 5-1 over the DRC. However, just look out for the DRC's atmosphere. It's going to be absolutely electric, whether they are down 5-1 or up 1-0, which I do. This is a bold prediction. I do think the DRC strikes first.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 3-1 Portugal. I think Portugal is just the better team by far. So
I'm gonna go 4-1 Portugal. I think that the midfield of Portugal superior to everybody else in the tournament. They're gonna start off hot against a weaker DRC defensive line. Ronaldo's got to get going early though. Missed a couple chances in their friendly. Need him to probably score 1 or 2 goals to get the confidence brewing. But I think that Portugal clearly handles DRC. But I do think they get a goal, so I'm gonna go with 4-1.
Next match we do have is the Three Lions of England against Croatia. I'm going 3-1 for the Three Lions. Give me a Harry Kane goal to make it 3-1. Luke.
I'm gonna go with a late winner from England to take this game 2-1.
Yeah, I'm gonna hop on the same side with Luke on this. I think these half and half, either these really good top tier teams are either coming out really slow or dominating. And I think England's going to come out pretty slow, and it's going to be a pretty tight game the whole way. But I think England gets a goal at the end to win.
Jason.
I'm going to go 3-1 here for England. England was fantastic in World Cup qualifying with this same roster. Now, I do think Thomas Tuchel did leave out some key players such as Harry Maguire, Phil Foden, Cole Palmer, which is a little crazy to me, but their starting 11 is still one of the best in this tournament. I think they get it done against an aging Croatia side. I'm going to go 3-1, goals by Harry Kane, Jude Bellingham, and I'm going to say Morgan Rogers gets one as well.
Oh, you think Morgan Rogers? Give me Declan Rice for one of those goals, by the way.
Yeah, Declan Rice has been hot. We'll see.
Over to Czechia versus the Republic of South Africa. I think this is pretty clear cut. South Africa does defend decently well, just not much offensively for those yellow shirts. I'm going to go 2-0 Czechia. They looked good against South Korea.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 1-0 for Czechia.
Yeah, don't have much here. 2-1. Chase, what do you think?
I think that Switzerland struggled a little bit. We're on Czechia, my fault. Czechia looks really good on their set pieces against South Korea. I do think that their size is it's astounding. And then you have to realize that South Africa is missing 2 starters from the original opening day roster against Mexico. So I think that all plays into account. I think Czechia's size and pedigree is going to be a little bit too much. So I'm going to go Czechia 2-0.
Next up, we do have Switzerland versus Bosnia and Herzegovina. I'm going to stay on the 1-1 draw here in Group B between the Swiss and Bosnia, and I think we are going to get a late equalizer from Dimirovic for Bosnia and Herzegovina. I think Switzerland goes up into the half 1-0, though. Luke, what do you see?
Yeah, I think Bosnia is going to end up scoring a goal early into the second half, and they're just going to hold off and end up 1-0 for a Bosnia win.
Michael.
Yeah, I think kind of the opposite happens. I think that Bosnia just plays a little soft and lets up a goal, and then Switzerland just plays defense the whole time.
Chase. Quit watching Messi.
I think Switzerland probably gets this one done. It's a tricky one for me because I didn't think Switzerland looked great, and they have a ton of injuries to deal with right now. However, I do think that they are good enough to beat Bosnia. I don't think Bosnia draws again against a superior opponent, so I'm going 2-1 Switzerland.
Finally, we have Mexico against Korea. I think the co-host nation gets absolutely shocked here at home. Heung-min Son gets a goal to kick it off for Korea. They go up 2-1. Mexico equalizes around the 70th minute, but Korea, as they did against Czechia, turns it up at the end, gets plenty of chances, and finishes it off against the Mexicans 3-2 South Korea. Luke.
Yeah, I think Mexico scores early, and then South Korea ends up scoring 2 to end the game 2-1. I need this for my future, so I'm manifesting. South Korea.
Yeah, I'm hopping on the Luke manifestation. I think South
Thank
Korea
you.
gets it done. I'm down with it. Chase, what do you think? I see you have a different take.
Well, coming off the first game, I mean, it's tough to root against Mexico anytime they're at home. They're going to be in Guadalajara, which for that stadium is absolutely fantastic. It's going to be rocking. 45,000 is going to be packed out. It's going to be a sea of green for the most part. Um, I don't see Mexico losing. However, I thought South Korea looked fantastic against Czechia, which Czechia I thought was going to give them trouble just based off their size and physicality. I think the red card to their center back is also going to affect Mexico as well. You never want to miss one of your spine guys, like spine guys. I mean, like center mid, center back, or striker. You never want to miss one of those, especially in a World Cup matchup. And I think that definitely will affect them. Julian Quinones will probably get on the score sheet for Mexico. Looked great in the first game, but I actually think South Korea starts off and scores first and kind of hunkers in, and Mexico has to fight to get a goal back. I think it ends 1-1. I didn't think Mexico's finishing was good enough against South Africa, so I think that's going to hold them back here against South Korea. So I'm going with a 1-1 draw.
UFC Freedom 250 was absolutely delivered from the production, aside from the AI, ads. I don't want to get Luke on that tangent because, let's keep it, decently reasonable on the time here. We kicked it off with Diego Lopez versus Steve Garcia, and boy, Steve Garcia came out hot. They outlanded Diego Lopez in that first round, 23-6 on the total strikes and 6 strikes as well. Except Diego Lopez kind of found his ground midway through that second round, was able to get the knockout with 2:42 in the second. Diego Lopez wins. We all win on that pick as well. Quick thoughts on the Lopez-Garcia fight.
Yeah, I think Lopez looked like ass until he knocked him out. Just being completely honest.
Michael.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we were talking about it. Lopez does not have a lot of head movement, and so he's a great chin, but he gets pieced pretty good. But literally once he started to have any head movement, he found his rhythm and knocked out Garcia. And I know a lot of people are suspecting what he should do next. Especially because I think this would be the best fight, even though some people have maybe this other guy fighting other people because of what other happened. But I want Diego Lopez to fight Charles Oliveira for the BMF as the next fight. I don't want another fight versus Volk. I think he's obviously able to go up to lightweight to 155. I think Lopez Oliveira for BMF would be an amazing fight, and that's where I really want to see him go next.
Chaser.
I thought Diego Lopez looked great in this fight, and I kind of agreed. BMF Oliveira versus Lopez would be a fantastic fight as well.
Bo Nickel completely dismantled Kyle Daukaus. I mean, it kind of simple as that. He got a knockout late in the first round with 26 seconds remaining. Bo Nickel, guys, he is going to be a threat here in the middleweight division. I think he gets ranked, and I would love to see.
I think he's ranked 15th.
15th?
Now.
15th?
Yeah,
He's ranked 15th. I would love to see him get a fight that kind of gets him closer to maybe challenging for the title, because he has been pretty damn near untouchable in the middleweight division. Luke.
Yeah, Bo Nickel absolutely dominated. Kyle, you just got fired. So.
Yeah, well, I'm going to hop on with you. Nickel, he's obviously known for his wrestler, and this is a couple of fights, I don't know if in a row, but he's finished striking. And
Yeah, second knockout in a row. Yep.
So that's pretty good. I would like him. I don't know. There's a couple of guys in the middle of that middleweight that he could fight. I'm thinking maybe Joe Pfeiffer, maybe DeRitter.
I know. I think him versus Joe Pfeiffer would be an absolute wonderful matchup.
I mean, I don't know. This would be a great fight. This would definitely sell the most, but him against Izzy would be really good. But, I mean, Izzy's basically retired, let's be honest. I don't know if he's going to fight anytime soon. And I think he had a fight night recently, maybe, but I don't even know if it's that recent. But yeah, I would like to see maybe a Pfeiffer Nickel or DeRitter Nickel for his next fight. Just somewhere in that middle way would be a good way to boost him up.
Chase.
I really liked what Bo Nickel did in this fight. I think he kind of showed that he's going to be the next up and coming one in this middleweight division. We've heard about him, for a little while now and watched him fight a little bit, and he just keeps impressing me. Striking looks good, but his wrestling on the ground has been absolutely fantastic. So I think Bo Nickel will be one to contend in this division for year to come.
Next up in the lightweight division, Mauricio Ruffy. I mean, it was just a sad showing from Michael Chandler. 20-3 on the total strikes. Kind of tells the story. Got the knockout with 31 seconds left to go in the first round. Although I know Michael Chandler's way past his prime. Way past his prime. I absolutely think that Mauricio Ruffy is a force to be reckoned with in the lightweight division. I would love to see a fight, and I honestly I'm gonna back off of what you kind of said between Lopez and Oliveira for the BMF. I would like to see an Oliveira versus Rufi fight in a Brazilian bout in the lightweight division. Luke, what'd you think?
Yeah, Michael Chandler needs to retire. Ruffy did look really good. His striking was absolutely lethal. And shout out to him and his fiance.
Yeah, that was super sick. I like that pick, Will. I mean, Ruffy looks like the young Conor McGregor, and I absolutely love it. I'm gonna go to a different route with you. What I want for Ruffy next, I think Ruffy should fight the loser of Patty BSD.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
that's
that's
a good
I think
call.
that's the right move for him because he's moved up to 7th in the rankings, and the guys ahead of him are Patty, BSD, Holloway, Oliveira, Armand, and then Ilya, and then Justin. So I think depending on how the Patty BSD fight goes, maybe like at the end of the year, but I would love to see a Ruffy versus that loser. And then because both of those matchups I think are really interesting and really would be really entertaining. So yeah, that's where I see him going.
Chase.
I was really impressed with Rufi. I think Rufi is going to actually take the belt in this division in the next 5 years. I don't know if that's a crazy take or not, but I've been super impressed with what he did. Michael Chandler looked like he was on coke in this fight, just kind of hopping around, and I mean he didn't land anything, got absolutely smacked, and
It was bad.
Rufi just looked fantastic in my eyes. He's fought well up to this point. I think he keeps it going.
Heavyweight bout, Josh Hokett knocks out Derek Lewis in the second round. Hokett just looked dominant this entire fight. Lewis looks old and out of shape. A lot of people are calling for Hokett to get a potential matchup against. Oh, first off, Messi just got a hat trick, so shout out Lionel Messi. Hokett. A lot of people are saying title fight maybe against Gane. I think that's gonna be Aspinall Gane. People are saying Pereira. Yes, that makes sense. However, I think it is in Alex Pereira's best interest not to stay at heavyweight and to go down to lightweight heavyweight. So, what do you do with Josh Hokett? I think this fight makes absolutely complete sense. Let's throw him at the top of the division to see who fights the winner of the Gane Aspinall fight. Alexander Volkov has been at the top of this heavyweight division and has proven himself against guys like Waldo Cortez Acosta. I would love to see Josh Hokett versus Alexander Volkov in a number one contenders match, essentially, for the heavyweight title. Because let's be honest, while I love Josh Hokett and he's one of my favorite fighters right now, a win over Derek Lewis doesn't do that much to boost your, title hopes, in my opinion. Luke, how do you see it?
Yeah, no, Hoyt came into this and played it perfectly, got Lewis on the ground to tire him out to end up getting a stoppage in the second round. He game planned for that perfectly. Obviously, I feel for Lewis, but I'm excited to see what they do with Hoyt. I obviously think if Pereira does stay up, that's who he'll get. I don't think he needs a title shot. Like you said, I think he needs another legitimate top heavyweight before he gets that title.
Michael.
Yeah. He just both like Derek Lewis and Michael Chandler were just on the down, and these just really helped these other guys go up. I like the Volkov. I think Pereira is going to stay a heavyweight, and I think that is the fight to make.
Because they already hate each other.
Yeah, the beef's already there and stuff, but we'll get into Pereira. I guess next actually. No, O'Malley's next, but yeah, we'll get into Pereira in a second. But yeah, I think Pereira's going to stay in heavyweight. But yeah, I think that's the next fight to make, and I'll just give my thoughts about that when we talk about Pereira. But yeah, Hookit looks really good. He looks fast. I mean, and he's also still strong. I mean, he shot and easily took down Derek Lewis, kind of ragdolled him for a little, which is very impressive for how big Derek Lewis is. So yeah, I don't really like the stuff he says after press conferences sometimes, but he's a dang good fighter.
Chase.
Josh Hoykett is a character, so is Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis has been one of my favorite fighters in UFC for a long time. Was kind of hoping for him to maybe pull an upset here, but he just looked kind of respectfully old and fat. It looked slow. Hoykett clearly dominated him. That arm bar at the end was pretty funny as well. I think Hoykett probably
Terrible arm bar.
will get a title fight here in the next few fights in that division. Just he looks like a pretty good challenger for Aspinall, so we'll see what happens here. But definitely would love to see him fight. I agree with you, Mikey. I mean, I don't know if I can necessarily agree with everything that comes out of Josh Hoykett's mouth, but he is entertaining.
Next up, Sean O'Malley versus Ayman Zahabi. O'Malley, man, the leg kick burst from Zahabi seemed to have him a little bit iffy in that first round, but really comes through in the second round, getting a knockout with 58 seconds left. It's tough to call what you want to do with Sean, right? I mean, he has fought Peter Yan. He's fought Merab. I think Merab should get the rematch with Peter Yan. However, there has been literally no motion to make this rematch. So I don't think Sean took too much damage. If we want to make a fight in the meantime, it should be a title fight with Peter Yan. However, if you want to go outside of that range, I think a fight with Corey Sandhagen actually makes a lot of sense between these two styles, and I would like to see it. It wouldn't necessarily benefit Sean, but it would give Corey Sandhagen the potential boost for a title that he would need. Again, or even Merab versus Sean. There's so much you can do here. The bantamweight division's kind of a mess right now with the matchmaking. Luke, what do you see?
Yeah, no, the coolest knockout of the card, hitting the
100%.
slider,
Salute was not.
the walk-off salute. But I don't know what they do with Sean O'Malley because who's the other dude who's in second in that division?
Well, Sean moved to second, but Umar.
Yeah, Umar. Yeah, that I saw some people online saying they should just give them a chance, but I know doesn't Umar like miss weight a bunch?
Yes.
So
Well, no, he just isn't very
That's
active.
oh, it's Armin. Okay. Well, yeah. So I think I've seen some people say that they should give Umar and him to essentially fight and have the winner of Merab and
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback on Luke. I don't think there's any other fight to make than Yan versus Merab a rematch. I mean, Merab deserves the rematch after being such an active title fighter, title champ, and losing at the end of the year was, I mean, it was a shock, but it was a dominant fight by Yan, but also, I mean, it was just insane stamina by Merab fighting so many times. I think the fight to make is, I think Dana just has to grow a pair, and I know Sean O'Malley is his golden boy, but he needs to fight Umar, and the winner of that will face the winner.
Umar's fighting in 2 weeks, though. And
is he?
yeah, so that's the problem. I mean,
Yeah,
I guess it's not that far of a difference. We
It's
can
really, yeah, because I don't know, man. Like Will was saying, the bantamweight division is just messed up because you would have expected the bantamweight title to be up by now, to the fight to have been up halfway through the year after the fight just being at the end of December at last year. So yeah, I mean, I still think O'Malley and Umar is the fight to make because there's really nothing else you can do because Merab deserves to have his voice heard and he wants the rematch, and I think he should get it.
Chase.
Sean O'Malley was fantastic in this fight. Coolest knockout on the card for sure. That salute was sick. I think he looks revitalized. I mean, I think we'll talk about another fighter that needs to go on the same kind of path that Sean O'Malley has. But there was a time where it looked like Sean O'Malley's UFC career was coming to an end, and he's really revitalized it. I think he gets another title shot here in the next couple fights, and I think he's ready for it. He looks like a completely different fighter. Looks great, looks quick, fast, and his conditioning looks good as well. So congrats to Sean O'Malley.
Cyril Gahn wins by TKO in round 2 against Alex
Chama.
Pereira. No Chama. A couple controversial strikes to the back of the head here for Gahn. But next up for Gahn is obviously this fight with Tom Aspinall, so we can get that out of the way. What to do with Alex Pereira? Again, I think it should be light heavyweight for Alex, not heavyweight. He needs the speed at his age that he cannot carry with that weight. So we're not seeing Jiri fight again against Alex for an interim title. I think it should be, again, Magomed Ankalaev, considering he wins his fight night coming up on the same card as Umar. So I I think it's pretty cut forward, straight dry. It should be Magomed Ankalaev versus Alex Pereira for the interim light heavyweight title. Luke, how do you see it?
Yeah, no, Gon looked so much more athletic than Alex Pereira. Like, Pereira looked like a literal board out there, just could not move, and Gon looked like he could. I mean, also, like, I think difference too is the muscle mass between the two. Like, Pereira was 260 or whatever because he had to get up to 260. Gon was a rip 260, which I think did play a little bit with their power. But I honestly think Pereira should move down. I don't think he will because him and Hoyt don't like each other. But that's my thing.
Yeah,
Michael.
I mean, those back of the head shots were pretty bad. Alex Pereira posted about it today. I do. It's just gone. Just the past two fights, man. It's just weird ways. Gone both both times, which is just you don't really like to see. But Aspinall posted on Instagram, I think the day after UFC 250 Freedom, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm down to do Paris in September." So I think basically that fight is set in stone. So we will be getting Gon versus Aspinall in France in September, which leaves Pereira. I think he's going to stay. Now the biggest question I have that I can't make any sense of, that funny enough, Josh Hoykett said it, and I don't know if I got it off of listening to him or off of myself, but the fact that Pereira's camp told him you need to get to 250 instead of being like 235 is very weird for me, because obviously that 15 pounds was huge, because Hoykett's around 230, 235, and you just see how much quicker he is. Than like Pereira just looks so stiff at 250, and yeah, the back of the headshots happened, but I mean, we all watched that round one and we were like, holy crap, Gon just looks like so much better heavyweight than Pereira. So yeah, I mean, it's Alex Pereira. I think he's going to bounce back, but I think he is going to fight Hoykett. And if Pereira is above 245 pounds, then I think Hoykett wins. But I think if he's below in the 230s, I think it'll be a very interesting fight.
Chase.
I agree with you, Mikey. I think Pereira came in too heavy. He looked a little, like you said, stiff, sluggish. I thought Gon looked fantastic in his own right. I think, Pereira will bounce back. This is one of the greatest UFC fighters of all time. He's going to get back to it. I think he probably gets a rematch versus Gon after he beats a Hoykett or somebody like that, and we'll see what happens from there.
Finally, in our main event, the greatest fight on the card, we get Whitney Houston is the way Patty Pimblett described it. Sorry. Justin Gaethje makes Ilia Topuria quit after the fourth round. He is now the undisputed lightweight title holder. Let's talk about what to do with both these guys. First off, as I said before, Justin Gaethje completely outstruck Ilia in this fight. Ilia landed some good shots that wobbled Justin's knees, but Justin has a chin. He has a chin. He also doesn't have much brain cells, so that kind of helps out for Justin. He said he couldn't even read the Declaration of Independence. So,
That can't be real.
it was real. It was in his.
It was real.
Yes, it was real. Yeah, I know. So what to do now with these guys? I absolutely think Ilia in theory should get the rematch with Justin. I think Justin's next fight's going to be his retirement fight. I have seen some things floating around on social media. Whether this is deserved or not, I think would be absolutely cinema. I think Justin Gaethje is going to fight Dustin Poirier for this. Yes. I have Dustin Poirier preliminary accepted the fight on Twitter. If the UFC wants to make it in this lightweight division, I think we get essentially a both retirement send-off fight where the title will then be vacated and picked up by the winner of the BSD Patty fight versus Ilia Topuria. So that's what is next for Ilia. For me, the winner of the BSD Patty fight, it will be Patty Pimblett. We will finally get Patty Pimblett versus Ilia Topuria. The winner will eventually be fighting for the undisputed champion. However, I'm 100% on board with this. Justin Gaethje versus Dustin Poirier. One final send-off. Gaethje knocks his ass out, just by the way. Poirier is...
Poirier?
No, yeah.
Poirier is 100%.
Poirier is washed.
Yeah.
But, I mean, again, but the cinema of this fight would completely be worth it. Everybody and their mother would be tuned in if you're an MMA fan. Luke, what do you think?
I thought it was an absolute ass kicking by Gaethje. I thought it was awesome too. I mean, I put money on Gaethje. He won. I think out of
Gaethje by knockout for $50 was a pretty ticket that cashed.
yeah. I mean, I was pretty neutral. I liked Poirier, but I also like Gaethje. So he took him down with the tism. I mean, yeah, he took him with the tism. He's got no brain cells. The backflip and then the backflip to landing on his neck was hilarious.
Break his neck.
No, I did too, and I'm like, that is that tism stuff. So, but it's a great end to such a great pay-per-view.
Michael.
This crazy because I mean everyone knows, and we were watching it, and we all thought Ilya won in round 2 after those liver shots. Justin folded to the ground on liver shots, and all Ilya had to do was ground and pound on that round 2. But he decided to go for the submission, decided to wrestle with him, absolutely gassed himself, and then after that it was it. And a nice little thumb eye poke in round 1 to blind that right eye, and you know. Gotta give credit to Justin Gaethje because I after initial and obviously biasism had it 2-2, but then I actually went and looked at the stats after the 4th round, and yes, Ilya had that takedown, but I mean it was a so-so takedown.
3 judges had it scored 3.
Correct, I know that. And then I went and looked at the scorecard after I saw that, and Justin did outstrike him in that round, so it was really 3-1. Now, yes, he made him quit. Yes, Ilya was literally blind in both eyes. I don't really know like what you really wanted him to do except for die in that 5th round, I
I
guess.
did want to see it, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, but I mean questionable move by Ilya in the 2nd round. But my favorite thing was the 1st round when we were like, oh crap, this is going to be a fight. This is not going to be something, because Ilya just did not respect Justin's punch at all. He thought he could take the jabs. He thought he could take the punches. And obviously he could not, because it rocked him a lot more than Ilya expected. And as Khabib said, you know, Justin Gaethje hits like a freaking truck. And it's true. And another thing I want to point out is I think we have been spoiled with Topuria and Pereira on their dominance and between weight classes. But I think this truly showed the difference between moving up in weight classes, because the difference between the 145 and 155 and how hard they hit, I think was very evident here. And so also just like the size differences, like 5'11 to 5'7, and Gaethje does hit like a truck. Now, as we talk about, Gaethje is an idiot. So I think I don't think he's going to retire until like he's going to do like a Michael Chandler. So I think Gaethje should fight Arman.
I would love to see that fight.
It needs to happen. I mean, the reason I want it to happen is
I'm a fan though.
the reason why I want it to happen is because I just want to see Arman fight. We have been UFC fans it's basically been a year round, and the number 2 contender in the lightweight division has not fought. We have not seen him fight.
I've been watching UFC since like 2022, and I've seen him fight maybe twice.
Yes.
Yeah, I've never seen him.
And we know Dana White hates Arman. So this is a little contradictory, but if the Arman is out of the way, I want Gaethje Oliveira with both belts on the line. I think that would be amazing.
I agree.
I think
Both fighters are looking better than they were at the time.
both fighters are looking better. I think that would be great. And then Topuria just needs. It's hard to predict Ilya's fight because he's going to be out for a good bit. So I think he just needs to rest and get up. And I think whenever he is ready to return, it should be for the belt. So, yeah.
You don't think there's a preliminary fight between him and the winner of BSD, Paddy Pimblett? You think the winner of that fight, if they were ready to go first, could end up winning the title, and Ilya would have to wait?
Yeah, that's what I said. I think it's just time. It's hard to say.
Do you see Justin Gaethje's potential next fight being against Paddy Pimblett if he wins that fight for a rematch, essentially?
I don't know. I think Gaethje's going to – it's just hard to tell.
I could see that.
I could see – there's a lot of things. That's what makes the lightweight
division.
division
Because you look at the scorecards, Paddy Pimblett, he did come back in that fight after getting rocked in the 2nd round.
Yeah. I mean, Paddy kind of did get dominated by Gaethje in all 5s. Yes, there were some moments, but I don't want to see a Paddy Gaethje rematch. I really don't. But the problem is that like the Paddy BSD matchup is terrible for BSD. So I think Paddy wins that. So
Patty gets a finish in the first round. We're gonna be looking.
If it
at
was
that.
my dream, this is what I would do. I would have Justin just hold on to the belt until Ilya is ready and they have a rematch, and then Patty fight Armin after he beats BSD. And then that's it. Then it goes on from there. Because like we talked about Gaethje's brain cells, I don't think he's retiring anytime soon. I don't think he wants to have a retirement match. So yeah, that's what I think's gonna happen.
Chase.
I agree with all those points. I think I actually want to see Topuria Gaethje too as both of their next fights. It's going to take Topuria some time to get back to health and get back feeling good. But I'd like to see a round 2 of that fight. I would like to see if it was just like the White House moment and just too much. Maybe Topuria came in a little too overconfident. I would love to see Topuria get the chance to win his belt back because I feel like, he deserves the right to a rematch. And I think he's still even with that loss is still the fighter to beat in this division because I think whoever fights Gaethje next will probably take the belt unless it's Paddy Pimblett. So, I would love to see Topuria take back this division, but we'll just have to see. And in terms of the fight, I thought through rounds 1 and 2, it looked like Topuria was going to win this fight. And then when round 3 came around, I mean, Gaethje's jab just finally took a toll on Topuria, and Topuria gassed out at the end of the second when he tried to submit him. And he just had nothing left. He had nothing to defend Gaethje, and then it just got ugly. And then, I thought Topuria actually had a good 4th round, but then his face was just too swelled up, and his corner called it. But I would have loved to seen a 5th round in this fight. I honestly thought that Gaethje's 3rd round was clearly the only round that was truly it was clearly Gaethje's round. I thought the other 3 were contested both ways. So I would have loved to see what would have happened in the 5th round, but I understand that he took too much damage. And I think that leg kick, that back heel drive into his ribs at the end of round 4 really sealed the deal for Topuria.
Dude, that knee. It was a knee. It was a brutal knee.
Also,
His knee, yeah, that's what it was.
shout out Mark Goddard for being, you know what, doctor? Screw you. We're getting this fight. Keep going.
He goes, get out of here. And I was like, wow, all right.
That was so funny.
Best things that happened this weekend. We are going to skip past producer's puzzle for time constraints. Omaha. Me and Mikey went to Omaha. It was an absolute blast. I'm going to let Mikey cover one of my favorite parts of Omaha as he has it listed on his best of the weekend. But me and Mikey flew in, went to the Troy, West Virginia game. Even though we lost, it was still a damn good time. Got to watch some great baseball. Charles Schwab Field is an absolute masterclass of a place to go watch a ball game. Great concession food, not a bad seat in the house. The hotel was wonderful. Shout out to Hilton. What was it? DJ's Dugout, in Omaha, Nebraska. Shout out them. They were a wonderful bar and food spot for us after and before games because we did not feel like screwing with the Jello shot place or Blatz due to just the crowds. But Omaha is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. I completely recommend it to anybody. Ole Miss versus Troy. So we get back off of our flight back in Memphis on Sunday to catch the White House fights with the boys. We turn on Ole Miss versus Troy, and we take out those Ole Piss Rebels. I was firing out memes to about every group chat available that had Ole Miss people in it. Loved every moment of it. And then the UFC Freedom 250, the production was wonderful. The fights were wonderful. Everything about it was wonderful. Having the boys over, eating some wings and poutine was wonderful. Loved my entire weekend. This is one of my best weekends I've had in a while. Enjoyed my time with Mikey. Enjoyed the time with the boys. Luke, what happened this weekend?
I ran a 640 mile today.
Hell yeah, you did, dude.
Man, I ran before practice, so I was pretty stoked that I was able to do that. Had some poutine, watched some great fights. One of the most well-constructed UFC events I've ever seen in my life. And then I worked on Saturday, made some extra money so I could pay more off on my car. So
hell yeah.
that happens.
Chase, what happened this weekend, bud?
I think this was the best sports weekend that we've had in a long time. We're going to look back on this and be like, this was 2016 for music, like we are looking at this weekend. World Cup, great UFC events, NBA Finals, Stanley Cup playoffs, college baseball was absolutely electric. I could just go on and on. This was a fantastic weekend for us, us being sports fans. Started off Friday night, watched the U.S. men's national team game against Paraguay at this super cool bar, double-story bar. TV was as big as a jumbotron in there, shooting off smoke, everything. We got a little lit, so it was a great time. had a super fun time watching the U.S. kick ass. And then Cape Verde yesterday, I know Monday isn't technically the weekend, but I just thought it was a fantastic story for a country that was super small to go in and get a point against the presumed favorites for this World Cup. So congrats to Cape Verde. And then Lewis Hamilton, after, it looked like he was washed last season, down and out, looked like moving to Ferrari was a terrible move for him. Coming back and having a great 2026 campaign, second in points in the driver's standings, and getting his first win for Ferrari in Barcelona. That was just awesome to see. And then, I probably could go on about UFC and the Spurs fans and the Knicks fans, and just an overall great weekend of sports.
Michael.
Yeah, basically what Will said on the Omaha and UFC is just peak weekend, to be honest. Going to Omaha, watch some great baseball games, and then UFC Freedom 250. What an event, from the live band to just everything. Yes,
The band was awesome.
Yes,
The band was awesome.
yes, Ilya Taporia lost, but his walkout was the best walkout of the night. It was so cold, and I just loved it. And then my third is this Oklahoma couple that this older couple that was at the bar we went
DJ's
to.
dugout, yeah.
DJ's
Shout
dugout. Me and Will were just sitting at like a 4-person table, and they were asking us if we were like leaving soon, and we were like, "Well, we're gonna leave for the next game, but y'all can come sit with us right here, right now." And they decided to. We just talked about sports and stuff like that, and it was really cool.
Yeah, ended up doing a round of shots with
Apple
Everclear,
pie shot.
apple pie shots with Everclear in it. With them, that was on them. They gave us some beer money and cash. They
it's
showed us
super
how
cool.
awesome Oklahoma people are, how
Yeah.
awesome Sooner fans are. Boomer Center.
No Texas fan went up to us.
No Texas fan went up to us. Horns down, Boomer Center. And that'll conclude episode 69 of Swiss Army Sports. This has been Will, Luke, Michael, and Chase. Until next time, have a good night.